everyone, we are the first reporter, and our topic is all about learner-centered psychological principles. There are 14 psychological principles, and I hope you will learn something from us, especially in our topic. Once again, good morning. My topic is all about cognitive and metacognitive factors. Number 1, nature of the learning process. The learning of complex subject matter is most effective when it is an intentional process of constructing meaning from information and experience. Actually, there are a lot of different types or ways of learning or in learning process. Example for that is habit information in motor learning. Another example is that a child learn how to clap by seeing someone else do it. Actually, learning takes place through direct experiences or experience. Number 2 is goals of the learning process. The successful learner, over time and with support and instructional guidance, can create meaningful, coherent representation of knowledge. So the strategic nature of learning requires students to be goal-directed. Example for that is SMART. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. To construct useful representations of knowledge to acquire the thinking and learning strategies necessary for continued learning success across the lifespan. Students must generate and pursue personally relevant goals. So, I believe that educators can assess learners in creating meaningful learning goals that are consistent with both personal and educational aspirations and interests. So number 3 is construction of knowledge. The successful learner can link new information with existing knowledge in meaningful ways. So knowledge construction happens when students do more than reproduce what they have learned. They go beyond knowledge reproduction to generate ideas and understandings are new to them. The skills of knowledge construction are often considered critical thinking activities that require knowledge construction as students to interpret, analyze, synthesize, or evaluate information or ideas. So how to know knowledge construction? So I've searched here that ways on how to know knowledge construction. So number 1 is students use detail in a story to infer that reasons why a character committed a crime. So that's the example of knowledge construction or how you're going to know that it is a knowledge construction. Next is students use being search the internet for information about local activities to help the environment and analyze it to decide what else could be done. Next is students write a paper that compares and contrasts information from multiple sources. Students compares different explanations for changes in atmospheric pressure to determine which explanations are credible. So number 4 is strategic thinking. The successful learner can create and use a repertoire of thinking and reasoning strategies to achieve complex learning goals. Successful learners use strategic thinking in their approach to learning, reasoning, problem solving, and concept learning. They understand and use a variety of strategies to help them reach learning and performance goals and to apply their knowledge in novel situations. So learning outcomes can be enhanced if educators assist learners in developing, applying, assessing their strategic learning skills.
Hello, this is one of the principles in facilitating learning. Number 5, thinking about thinking. Higher order strategies for selecting and monitoring mental operations facilitate creative and critical thinking. Successful learners can reflect on how they think and learn. In short, in this area, the students will reflect on what they have learned about the given task, and they can give opinions. The students can generate alternative methods to reach their goal. This method helps learners to develop these higher order or metacognitive strategies, enhance their learning and their responsibility when it comes to learning. Examples of metacognition: a student learns about what things help him or her to remember facts, names, and events. A student learns about his or her own style of learning. A student learns about which strategies are most effective for solving problems. Another principle is context of learning. Learning is influenced by environmental factors including culture, technology, and instructional practices. Learning does not occur in vacuum. It results either directly or indirectly from experiences. Teachers have a major interactive role with both the learner and the learning environment. Learner is defined as a relatively permanent behavior change due to experience. As they said, the best teacher, experience is the best teacher. So, through or with the help of the experience, we learned or the students learned. Example of learning context is the external learning environment, including the quality of equipment and facilities and the training level of the teacher. Another principle is motivational and emotional influence on learning. What and how much is learned is influenced by the individual's emotional states, beliefs, interests, and goals. What and how much is learned is influenced by learners' motivation. Students' motivation has to do with the students' desire to participate in learning process. It also concerns the reason or goals that underlie their involvement in academic activities. For example, a student in your class gets a poor mark on quiz. Intrinsic motivation to learn. The learner's creativity, higher order thinking, and natural curiosity all contribute to motivation to learn. Intrinsic motivation is stimulated by task, optimal novelty, and difficulty relevant to personal interest and providing for personal choice and control. For examples of intrinsic motivation, participating in sport because it's fun and you enjoy it rather than doing it to win a reward. Learning a new language because you like experiencing new things, not because your job requires it. Thank you.
My first topic is the effects of motivation on efforts. Acquisition of complex knowledge and skills requires extended learning and guided practices. Without the learner motivation to learn and willingness to exert this effort, unlikely without coercion. Effort is another indicator of learning. The acquisition of complex knowledge and skills demands investment of consideration, learner energy, and strategic effort with a persistent over time. Effective strategies include purposeful learning activities guided by practices that enhance positive emotions and intrinsic motivation to learn. For example, activities in the classroom energize, direct, and sustain behavior of the student. It involves their goals and activities. My second topic is developmental influence on learning. As individuals develop, there are different opportunities and constraints for learning. Learning is more effective when different development within the across physical, intellectual, emotional, and social domains is taken into account. Individuals learn best when the material is appropriate to their developmental level, is presented in an enjoyable and interesting way. Because individual development varies across intellectual, social, emotional, and physical domains. Achievement in different instructional may also vary. For example, as a child develops, the teacher will encounter different prospects to his learner. The teacher must have to find different instructional materials in order to ensure that the student will learn as much as possible. My next topic is social influence on learning. Learning is influenced by social interaction and interpersonal relation and communication with others. Learning can be enhanced when the learners have an opportunity to communicate and collaborate with others in an instructional task. Learner setting that allow of social interaction and that respect diversity encourage flexible and collaborative instructional context. Individuals have an opportunity for perspective taking and reflective learning that may lead to a higher level of cognitive, social, and moral development as well as self-esteem. For example, conformity, socialization, peer pressure, obedience, leadership, skills, persuasion, and marketing. My last topic is individual differences in learning. Learners have different strategies, approaches, and capabilities for learning that are a function of prior experience and heredity. Individuals are born with different own capabilities and talents. Addition, through learning and social acculturation, they have acquired their own preferences for how they learn and the pace at what they learn or which they learn. For example, if you are a teacher, you must have to know the variables of physical characteristic, intelligence, perception, gender ability, learning styles, which are individual differences of the learner. As an effective and productive teaching learning process can be planned by considering their individual differences for that of your student.
Good morning, everyone. Our next topic is the learning diversity. What is diversity? When we say diversity, it is the exploration and incorporation of those differences to enrich learning. Diversity included socioeconomic status, gender, religious belief, and etc. So, in order to ensure that every student can gain more knowledge, teachers have to understand and treat every student fairly and equally. Example, in terms of culture, we know that in every individual student, they came from different places, therefore different culture. But as a teacher, you have to give efforts that can make them feel comfortable with each other, that they are treated the same and fairly despite of their diversity. Another example, when you have an Islam student, we should avoid those things and activities that are prohibited for them. And our last topic is the standards and assessment. Effective learning outcome took place when teachers and learners know their weaknesses and strengths through a standardized assessment. Probably, each result from assessment will enlighten both and is adjusting and embracing effective procedure to attend their needs and appropriate strategy to address and support teaching and learning process. That's all, and thank you.